I think it's a fair reflection to say it's a huge sigh of relief that West Ham did not lose to Brentford yesterday. I mean, it was one of them games we went into under so much pressure, considering the start to the season we've made. The media have absolutely got it out for us at the moment. Make no mistake, that is absolutely happening, and it's going to continue to happen. So it was vitally important, I felt, that we didn't lose that game. If we'd lost to Brentford, I think the noise would have just been ramped up this week heading into the Ipswich game. It would have been really tough on the club and Lopetegui in particular. So it was really good. I'm really, really pleased actually this morning, having had time to reflect on the game, obviously see back the highlights, etc., and just to analyse it a bit more in detail. And I've got to say, I'm really happy this morning. Was it a perfect performance? No, absolutely not. It didn't start that way, did it? I mean, 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds, 1-0 down. I mean, I was absolutely fuming, as I'm sure you were. I mean, it was at the start that you just don't need. And it was in my mind as well going into this game. I kept thinking, just don't concede early. Don't concede early. Let's just get hold of this game and try and go for the win. And to be 1-0 down after, well, less than a minute, it was just ridiculous. I felt that we were at fault a little bit for it. I felt that we just weren't switched on. It was very early, obviously, in the game, but I felt that midfield was just not switched on at all for the build up at all, and it was poor from West Ham. I don't blame the goalkeeper. Great finish from Buemo, but just not what we needed at all. But I will say though, West Ham easily could have crumbled. Those players, considering the fact they've just come the back of a 5-1 hammering against Liverpool, a terrible performance against Chelsea, the pressure being on and all this speculation and stuff. I'm going to come to that in a minute regarding Lopetegui. I felt that West Ham actually responded really well. I thought the players dug in, didn't let their heads go down. And I will say this now, I felt that, did West Ham deserve to win yesterday? I don't know. That's a difficult one to say where we deserve to win, because that sort of implies that you were just a far better side, in my opinion. I would say possibly a fair result, but if you had to pick a winner, i.e. there was no option for a draw, one had to win, then West Ham should have won that game. I felt that we were the better side overall, and I'm really pleased the fact that, as I say, we came back from a goal down to respond in that way and put in a performance like that. I just felt like it showed some real character, and showed that the players are behind the Lopetegui, the head coach, whatever you want to call him. And I'm just feeling a lot more buoyed this morning. I feel like that was an important result. The fact that we stopped the rot, it's really, really important. But yeah, as I say, the start wasn't great. But I felt that we actually, once we went 1-0 down, although we weren't excellent, I felt that we started to control large parts of the game. I really did. I thought that there were some really encouraging signs out there. We went in at half time, 1-0 down, and again, it wasn't as if we had a bucket load of chances, but we seemed the more threatening, I felt, than Brentford. I don't apart from their goal, I don't think Ariel had much to do in that whole game, really. We defended well, we looked solid. I thought Todibo looked really good. The fact he started the game was great to see, and I feel like now he's kind of cementing himself already as that sort of first choice centre back now with Max Kilman. It's what we wanted to see, and I felt that he certainly did himself no problems at all in regards to how he performed and encouragement and for Lopetegui. I thought that was a real encouragement. And I'll tell you what, I thought there was a few good performers out of today. I thought Aaron Wan-Bissaka was excellent. He played both sides. He started off at right back and went over to the left back. And I thought position. We had Mavropanos going at right back. I thought that he did a decent job. I thought Jared Bowen was better. I thought Lucas Paqueta again was poor, which was a real shame. Somerville was on the bench to start with, which was disappointing. I was disappointed with the lineup, I've got to admit. When it first came out, a bit deflated, a bit, oh God, why is Somerville been dropped? But I've got to say, when Somerville came on, I actually thought he didn't do overly too much. But he did replace Lucas Paqueta in the second half. Paqueta just isn't playing well at the moment. It's quite obvious. We're going to do a video about him this week regarding his situation. We'll do it. Should be out tomorrow. So we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. Sort of been reluctant to do so, to be honest, because of what's been going on with him. But it's a big talking point now. I think his performance is reflecting what's going on with him. And I feel like there's a big decision there to be made, I think, by Lopetegui. Second half, I thought West Ham were better. We really did improve. Manager, I'll tell you what I will say about Lopetegui. Lopetegui as well in his defence. I feel like one encouraging sign from him, he's not afraid to make decisions. He's not afraid to make substitutions. He took off Mohamed Kudus, who actually I thought played right. I thought he looked pretty good actually on the left-hand side. I was disappointed to see him there because I think that's when he's least effective. But I actually felt that was a good performance from him on the left. I thought that he was causing all sorts of problems for Brentford. So it was surprising to see him come off. Soler came on as well. I've got to say, first time I've watched him play properly, I felt and be a bit encouraged by him. I thought, okay, he's starting to look a really good player. I thought he was causing them problems as I say, and I actually felt that he's probably starting to look like the player that could be stepping into the role of Paqueta for me. That sort of creative flair, a little bit about him in midfield, a bit of a better vision for the pitch than others. And I just felt that performance kind of made you think, yeah, I think that's what we've got to start going with, because Paqueta just hasn't been performing. He gives the ball away far too often at the moment. I actually get the impression watching Paqueta is he looks a player that you kind of feel like he could do with a break. You know what I mean? He looks like he could just do with saying, look, just you don't need to have a starting role at the moment. Get your head together and take it that way. That's how I felt anyway. And look, we're in the second half. We went 1-1. Thanks to Tomas Soucek, who just he reminds me of like David Platt. Someone might want what I'm talking about some of these videos, but David Platt when he played for Arsenal England, he had that sort of ability of sort of just ghosting in the box. Never really wasn't a really exciting flair player or anything like that, but he just could sort of get in the right place at the right time. And I just feel like that way with Soucek. He's got that ability just to be there and just stick a boot on it. And we needed that. We desperately needed that. And we bloody deserved it. Let's get it right. West Ham did not deserve to lose that game at all. As I say, if you had to pick a winner, I would say West Ham. And I know people say, well, you're going to say that because you're a West Ham fan. I'd be honest if I said we didn't deserve it. I'd say, no, we were lucky. I don't think we were lucky at all yesterday. I thought, if anything, we were a little bit unlucky. And second half, we went for it. You know what I mean? We put in the effort. We worked hard, and I was really encouraged. I know some fans are still disappointed and angry. There's a sort of real concern lingering at the moment. I mean, I'm going to be honest, right? This is what this video is about. Two parts about. Obviously, I want to talk about the game quickly, and I want to talk about the other stuff as well. But I'm getting a little bit exhausted with all this pressure on Lopetegui and suggestions that if he'd lost that game, he might have struggled to keep his job. I'm just getting sick and tired of it. I really don't want to go down this path of being one of these football clubs, because that's what we're sort of fast turning into, in my opinion. A club that just you lose a handful of games. That's it. Well, he's got to go. He's got to be sacked. He's awful. You think, we don't want to go down that path. We've always been a club that sort of sticks with managers over the years. We don't want to keep chopping and change every 5 minutes. And I'm becoming a little bit fearful if that's where we seem to be heading, because that's certainly the message we're getting, aren't we? From the club, from all parts of media at the moment, in terms of Lopetegui and his future. I'm just exhausted with it. I don't want to hear it. We've just had enough of that with David Moyes. I don't want to go down the same path again, so early on the season. We're still in bloody September, for God's sake. So I was really pleased, actually, how the players responded, how the manager, head coach responded as well. I felt that all in all, it was a good day for us. I thought that we needed that. We needed to stop the rot and give ourselves a little bit of encouragement going into the Ipswich game, because that's a must win. Let's get that right. West Ham must beat Ipswich at home, get 3 points. And you get the feeling that if we can get 3 points in that game, which you would expect, I mean, no disrespect to Ipswich, they're a good side and they're deserving of being in the Premier League. But on paper, West Ham should be beating this side, especially at home. We need to stop that home rot as well. 3 defeats out of 3 is not good. It's not a record that Lopetegui would want, and he's got it. He's got no choice. But we have to win that game. And I just feel like that was a game that we can now build on. You can imagine the players going into training now, feeling a bit of encouragement, feeling pretty good about themselves, and feeling like, look, we can now look to that game. And we've got a week to focus on it. We haven't had that for a long time. We've had European football with so many games coming thick and fast. We've got a whole week now to prepare for a side that's just been promoted for the Championship. I would expect us to be beaten. So, I'm certainly feeling encouraged. I will say, actually, I've got to put a bit of an apology out. We did do the team news yesterday ahead of the game. Fulkrug, I anticipated would be in the squad for that game. Obviously, he wasn't. He was pulled away from the squad. As far as we understand it, is that he's had a setback, basically. It was expected that he would be back for the Liverpool game, but it was 50-50, not quite sure. If he didn't make that game, he would be then playing in the Brentford game. So that's how close we're talking his fitness was. Then reports that here and now hearing, haven't had this confirmed yet, is that it's now not going to be back till after the international break. So really, it's what we originally what was said. We said originally it's about 6 weeks because it's an Achilles problem. The message then from the club was, no, it's minor, it's not too bad, it's an ankle knock, it's not an issue. but that's now not been the case. It seems that it is a certain issue now he's still got to overcome. So yeah, obviously apologies from our side, because obviously we were expecting football to play. I had him in my team, but I've got to say I was happy with West Ham. I thought that we played all right yesterday, and I thought it was a deserving point, and I'm really pleased for Soucek. I'm really pleased for Lopetegui. I've got to be honest. I feel for the guy. I really do. I've felt for him this week. I felt like he's getting it from all angles. I thought the media have been pretty disgraceful again. We was expecting this, by the way. This is no surprise whatsoever. The media are absolutely dying for him to fail, dying for West Ham to fail, so they can go, "We told you so. We told you about David Moyes and all that." It was obvious, and that's why we're 6 games into a season already. How many pundits have we had having digs at West Ham fans? Chris Sutton's just done it. You know what I mean? He does the BBC predictions, right? And in that, he attacks West Ham fans for no reason. Just to say, "Well, this is what you wanted. This is what the fans wanted." Like, there's an underlying tone there, and it's not helping the situation, because what they're then doing is they're stirring the pot of what's going on at West Ham. But I will say the only concern I've got, from my standing point, is that the club aren't doing enough to put it to bed. I feel like the club don't have to put an official statement, all right? The club don't have to put up on, like on their official website, Lopetegui's job safe. I don't want that. I'm not suggesting that's what the club needs to do, but I would like someone like a Steidton or a Sullivan to put out a statement via the channels, via ourselves or whatever, just to say, look, we're really happy with the manager. We're really fully behind him, excited for the season. Do you know what I mean? Give the guys some backings. The fact we're not hearing anything from the club, I just don't think is helping the matter, because that's just going to allow them to stir the pot. So I'll tell you what, that draw against Brentford was really needed, because had we not got that, can you imagine what it'd be like today? It would be ramping up. I just, it's not what we need at all. So I'm really pleased. But I will say as well that we've had a little bit of news. It came out yesterday. I was going to do a separate video about it, but I sort of decided to sort of combine it with yesterday's game. Was this Boardroom unrest that seems to be another bit of news, and that's floating around that West Ham are looking for. This is coming from Football Insider. Now, I take everything with a pinch of salt, to be honest, unless it's absolutely, if it comes from X and he completely confirms it to me, this is 100%, then that's slightly different. And if it comes from really credible sources, then you take notice. Football Insider, I think, is a bit 50-50 for me sometimes. I thought sometimes that, okay, they've been really good, and sometimes they say things that are way off the mark. So it's very hard to know what they're suggesting. As I said, and I'm also mindful of the fact that the media seems to be out for West Ham at the moment. They're out for Lopetegui. They're out for the fans. They really do not want us to be doing well. It's quite obvious, and we know the reason why, because of the Moyes but obviously departing the club in the summer. And they just, they can see there's an appetite there, isn't there, for West Ham to fail. So I'm keeping that in mind. But what Football Insider are now suggesting is that West Ham are looking for further investment. Well, we know that anyway. That's not news. But what they're suggesting is that there's a lot of unrest at the club. The board members are not happy with decisions that have been made, in particular in regards to the manager and things like that. I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with the whole bloody thing. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm still very much in the mindset is that we've had a really positive chapter under David Moyes. Okay, all right. I know it wasn't the best football in the world, but at the end of the day, we had some great memories and brilliant European nights and won a trophy. So I'm really excited and delighted by what happened there and all that kind of stuff. And that's brilliant. All right, that's really good. But I was excited now for the new chapter at West Ham. I'm excited for the next part. And I felt that this summer, with a new head coach coming in, a new backroom team, new players, it was always going to be a slow start. It was unlikely West Ham were going to absolutely smash it out of the park and be beating teams left, right, and centre. I was not really anticipating that, and I just feel like we're so early on in the season, and to have this kind of hanging over us already, this looming like Lopetegui's already fighting to save his job. I really don't like it. And now we're getting this other added layer of this, and now unrest in the Boardroom. Again, there's no details of this. They're not naming anyone in particular. They're not saying Kretinsky has had enough and he wants to sell up, or Brady's storming out of all that stuff. That's not happening. There's just unrest in the Boardroom. I'm just struggling to believe that. I'm struggling to believe that after a summer of so much change and no doubt big decisions being made within the Boardroom of what they're going to do, I struggle to believe that there's this much unrest. I don't like it. I really don't. And I really hope that we can just start pushing this away. The way we're going to get this to push all this stuff away is by dealing with it on the pitch. West Ham just need to get results, climb the table, and that stuff will just start to die down and go away. And we need that quite quickly to happen. So the Ipswich game's massive, isn't it? It's absolutely massive, big game, and a must win for us. And I actually felt that the draw against Brentford sets us up lovely for that, because it was a much better performance from West Ham. It wasn't perfect. I'm not sitting there going, wow, it was like watching Barcelona. It wasn't. It was nothing like that. But there was encouragement in that game. I thought that there were some really good performances. I thought Mavropanos at right back, I was really pleased to see. I think that gives us another option. Wan-Bissaka were excellent again. I thought that Todibo was great. I'm really pleased. I like the fact him and Kilman partnership's looking good. I thought that Soler played his best game for West Ham so far. I thought Antonio looked all right. I thought Bowen was better. Kudus I thought was harshly taken off, I've got to be honest. But, whatever he was. I thought there was a lot of encouragement in that game. The fact that we responded to going 1-0 down early on showed real character. So, look, let's hope now that we can enjoy this week and have a little bit of buoyancy about us and look forward to Saturday, because next Saturday's a big game. And after a draw like that and performance like that, I'm starting to look forward to it a little bit. Come on, your hands.